forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. So skies are still featuring a good amount of cloud coverage, especially the farther south and east you go. We're going to keep some of this around throughout the morning. Then skies are going to start to clear on out for us, and we'll see more sunshine. Primarily for those of us farther north and east. Farther south, we'll probably hold on to a few more of those clouds. Temperatures ranging from the lower 60s in Pontiac to the upper 60s in Effingham at 69. Today, we are going to go into the afternoon, keep another one of those stray chances of storms on the horizon. But overall, I think things are going to stay dry for a lot of us here and for the next few days, too. But we do have better rain chances over the weekend. We'll talk about those, plus the front that comes with it and drops those temperatures back down into the 70s by next week coming up. WCI 3 News starts now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is The Morning Show on WCIA 3 News.
We just believe collectively there's too much uncertainty.
The Big Ten will not play fall sports due to COVID-19. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm McLeod Hageman.
And I'm Christy Batista. The decision for the Big Ten comes just 6 days after the league announced its reworked football schedules.
And many people say they'd like to know what changed in that matter of time. Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren says the data and science don't support a safe environment for sports. They're hoping to play this spring, but for now, everything is off the table.
As things began to evolve, you look at the number of cases that are spiking, the number of deaths, not only in our country, in our states where many of our schools are located, but worldwide. I promise that all the decisions that we will make will always put the mental and physical health and safety and wellness of our student athletes at the center.
And the Pac-12 also put sports on hold. 3 other Power 5 conferences, the ACC, Big 12 and SEC have not.
Illini football players were looking forward to getting on the field this fall. They spoke up many times and made it clear they wanted to play. Although they will not have the chance to do that this year, they've continued to stay vocal throughout this whole process. Right now, a lot of them have questions, and they're using social media to get their reactions out there. Wide receiver Josh Imatorbhebhe is asking why he can sign waivers for concussions, but not for COVID-19. Another tweet from him says, "Keep politics out of football. We want to play." Mike Epstein, the Illinois running back who hasn't been healthy for a full season of football, says, quote, "The news hurts, but God's timing is always right. I appreciate the fight everyone put up behind the scenes, especially our AD." We will hear from athletic director Josh Whitman as well as head coach Lovie Smith later on in the morning show.
And this decision won't only affect athletes and fans, but Central Illinois business and restaurant owners are taking a hit as well. One of those is Stan's Sports World in Champaign. They sell U of I promotional products and clothing to the university. When sports seasons roll around, they do their best business. However, their bottom line will likely take a big hit since fall sports is now postponed.
There's so much revenue, through the university that football gives to them, which then is a trickle-down effect, which if they start cutting sports, would be huge for us.
And business owners say they hope people in the Champaign-Urbana area realize the importance of local support when shopping.
Currently outdoors, we're seeing a lot of skies that are just featuring more of the partly cloudy conditions. And thankfully this morning, not having to deal with too much of the fog. It's definitely comfortable out there as we are starting off in the mid to lower 60s in a lot of our locations. Closer to I-70, keep an eye out. We're closer to the moisture source, which is going to be mainly tracking more into southern Indiana. But we're going to see how much of this can lift northward and probably bring some shower activity, not only just for those of us closer to I-70, but maybe even a little farther northward of that. 66 in Champaign, sitting at 67 in Springfield. We're closer to 70 in Effingham, while sitting in the 70s where they had a lot more of the cloud coverage and the light shower activity throughout the night. Going to be some clouds around this morning. We do get to see a little more sunshine by the afternoon, but keeping an eye out too for those spotty chance of rain later on into the day. But a lot more sun is going to be around as we end off the week, and it looks like maybe a little sun into the weekend too, but better chances of rain. We'll tell you when to expect that coming up. Christy and Mac.
All right, thank you, Adam. Well, Urbana's school board voted to approve the district's reopening plan for the fall, but not before making some changes.
Superintendent Jennifer Ivory Tatum says the administration is now recommending staying fully remote for the entire first quarter, and the board approved that plan. Last week, she announced the district would no longer offer hybrid learning at the start of the year, but could return to that format as early as September 8th. Ivory Tatum says a big driver in that decision was the rise in cases in the area. Another major factor, Champaign's decision to go fully remote for the first quarter.
It impacts us greatly. As Chancellor Jones said, in meetings I've been in with him, there isn't an imaginary wall around the U of I, there isn't an imaginary wall around Champaign either.
Ivory Tatum says more than 300 Urbana staff members are from Champaign, and those with kids were facing tough decisions on finding childcare if the districts weren't in sync. Urbana's kids are set to go back to the classroom on the 24th. They are less than 2 weeks out from the start of the quarter.
Well, the State Board of Education is reviewing school districts' curricula when it comes to Black history. The board sent a survey to every school district. It's gathering information about when school districts begin teaching Black history, whether standardized tests include material on it, and what the penalties should be if it isn't taught. Now, the board is working with a group of teachers to enhance its standards by the end of the year, not only on Black history, but also on immigration and Holocaust education.
Taking a look now at the latest coronavirus numbers across the state, there are more than 1,500 new cases in Illinois. That makes the total number of infections nearly 197,000. 20 more people have died. There have been more than 7,600 COVID-19 related deaths across the state. U of I students are coming back to Champaign-Urbana, and one former professor says that could mean a huge spike in COVID-19 cases.
WCI3's Courtney Bunting explains.
Really, for the first time since the pandemic arrived in our community, we're going to have most of the students back on campus.
U of I students are trickling back into the Champaign-Urbana community. As their numbers grow, so could COVID-19 cases. That's based on a study by a U of I graduate student, along with former professor Eric Jacobson. It found that the influx of students could mean 1,000 new cases and 4 deaths.
The people who are coming in are coming from populations that have a higher viral load.
There are ways to stop that from happening. One is switching bars and restaurants to only pickup or delivery.
We're suggesting to the cities that maybe they dial the restaurants and bars back from phase 4 to phase 3 levels for approximately 3 weeks.
Champaign and Urbana city leaders are working on emergency orders. One for masks, another for bars and restaurants, with requirements like not letting people inside and only allowing people to sit instead of stand.
From an economic standpoint, having the students here and not having them have to be sent home because cases are rising exponentially is really important to our community.
And the hope is for those new emergency orders to roll out in the next few weeks. City leaders are still finalizing those plans, and the university is also testing students twice a week.